need to talk about Hawaii, folks. In on the island of Maui, there are massive fires that are mostly under control now. Though last I heard or looked, it appeared that they were still burning in some areas. Uh, the death toll is currently over 100 people who have died as a result of these fires. The amount of damage is astronomical. The largest fire took place in a place called Lahaina. I'm probably mispronouncing some of these words. I really apologize. But about 2,170 acres of land were burned, and it's still not fully contained. Like, the pictures coming out are just devastating. It's a lot, just charred streets, like completely charred streets, empty vehicles, etc. It's bad. Let's see. I think I have a video teed up we can take a look at.
There are 89 fatalities that have been measured.
And this is an earlier press conference, so that total has gone up.
Now, we were here just 2 days ago, and
Yeah, 1,000 people still unaccounted for.
the number was smaller, and it's going to continue to rise. We want to brace people for that. This is the largest natural disaster we've ever experienced. It's going to also be a natural disaster that's going to take an incredible amount of time to recover from. So in the next few days, as we characterize how many people we've lost and how many people are coming into our community, please understand that we come at this like an ohana, because it's going to be, in the short term, heartbreaking. In the long term, people are going to need mental health care services. In the very long term, we'll rebuild together.
It's bad, folks. And to just put in perspective how quickly this happened, the fires are suspected to have been caused by damaged power lines, and in some places the flames swept through entire neighborhoods as fast as a mile a minute. So just a wall of fire going through a neighborhood at around 60 miles an hour. It's devastating. And yeah, the death toll is likely much, much higher. The governor of Hawaii put out a statement saying, for those who have walked into Lahaina because they really wanted to see, know that they're very likely walking on iwi, which is the Hawaiian word for bones. So the governor basically saying, like, walking on the ash of Lahaina is walking on the bones of its people. It's bad. It's devastating. And yes. So one of the things that has gotten very loud surrounding this, because obviously you don't need me to tell you that like a fire sweeping through and wiping off a huge chunk of a state is terrible. That's pretty obvious on the face of it. And what I can talk a bit more about is this. Here's a short clip from MSNBC, and I'm just gonna play it.
I think right now we just need the prayers, and we need the money to rebuild our town. This is going to be a long road ahead of us, and we're just trying to fundraise and make sure that the displaced families can go back home one day. There's a lot of real estate speculation happening right now that is really frustrating, and I just want to remind all you real estate investors around the world, like Lahaina is not for sale. Please don't reach out to these families and take advantage of them during the most devastating time of our lives.
We just heard from our reporter and from a couple of women who say that they were upset about what tourists were doing. Now you're telling me that there are real estate investors reaching out to people about their property. What's going on exactly?
Yes, homeowners have been reached out by investors and realtors offering to buy their land. And this is disgusting, and we just want to make sure that people around the world understand our situation and know that Lahaina is not for sale. It is important that the multi-generational families that come from Lahaina get to continue to live in our hometown.
Let me ask you about Hawaii officials and the government. I know that the alarm system failed. They didn't go off. The text message system failed because cell service was bad. Are you hopeful that they will intervene and protect Lahaina as a place for locals and tourists, but a place for locals instead of real estate investors looking to rebuild it differently than what it was?
Yes. We need to work as a community to ensure that we have a seat at the table on how our town is rebuilt and what that looks like. And it's important that we make sure that the cultural history of Lahaina, the integrity of Lahaina is protected, especially for Native Hawaiian families from Lahaina. We, as a Native Hawaiian community, we've already been displaced so much. The cost of living in Hawaii is so high. Your median house goes for $1 million. So, already dealing with that and having an affordable housing crisis, and now this just really scares me and concerns me that there'll be more Native Hawaiian displacement happening on among our community.
That is so hard. Can I ask you how your cousin is doing, how Dustin is doing?
He's okay. We're just comforting each other at this time. Everyone's living with me. I have a 3-bedroom home. I have 2 families living with me, but through it all, we are enjoying each other's time right now and just being there for each other, and that's what matters most.
Tiari Lawrence, thank you for coming back on, and I'm glad your immediate family is safe. I'm so horrified for your friends and horrified for the island if it isn't able to rebuild in a similar way. I know you can't rebuild all that history, but I do believe in the island. I do believe in the people. You guys are strong and you're unique, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Please keep the prayers and donations coming our way. Aloha.
Yeah. So one of the big problems that we see very much exemplified and expedited in the situation going on in Hawaii in the wake of these fires is the propensity for capitalism to cannibalize busts. Now, what I mean by that is you can see this in a slower and more subtle way when the economy collapses, right? Like when 2008 subprime mortgage hit, tons and tons of people, so many people, lost their entire retirement savings. The value of their homes plummeted to, like, in some cases, like half of what it had used to be. It was absolutely economically devastating, right? But where normal people see economic devastation, capitalists and investors, the investing class, look at that and they're like, ah, yes, now is the time for us to swoop in and buy up a bunch of stuff, because they know that if they swoop in and buy stuff when the market bottoms out, when things are at its absolute worst, they know that then that value is going to go back up. Yeah, literally, it's free real estate. So I make that analogy because what we're seeing when we see these environmental catastrophes brought about by climate change, and make no mistake, this absolutely is exacerbated by the climate change that is currently affecting us right now. What we're seeing here with literally the day after a wildfire sweeps through an entire city is these real estate investors swooping in to buy out a bottomed out market, because they know that they can build a bunch of new stuff there, and they can buy it for a song. They can buy land that is at a premium in Hawaii for bare minimum. Oh yeah, no, boiled peanuts. There are people at investment firms whose job it is to look for tragedies like this for their company to invest in. It should be illegal. Should be. But we do also have to reckon with another aspect of this, and that is that America has never really cared all that much for its colonies, we'll say. For its colonized people. It's that is unfortunately the case, and when America looks at Hawaii, for example, by and large, the moneyed interests of America looks at Hawaii, what they see is a place to be exploited for wealth, right? One thing we have to keep in mind when we talk about Hawaii is that it only became a state in 1959, and prior to that, it had become a U.S. territory directly because of a coup d'etat done by American agents. This is something, by the way, that America admitted to in 1993. Congress actually passed a resolution admitting that the United States had a hand in overthrowing the independent Kingdom of Hawaii. And I think that was in 1889, or it was either 1889 or 1898. Getting the numbers mixed up in my head. And Cascade Citra, yes, exactly where I'm going with this. The situation going on there, literally the guy who became the provisional president of Hawaii in the interim period before it became a territory of the United States, his cousin came to Hawaii and he founded a company called the Hawaiian Pineapple Corporation, I believe. If I'm not mistaken. Just real quick. Yeah, the Hawaiian Pineapple Company. And the name of that president was Sanford B. Dole. And if that last name is sticking in your head at all, that's because Sanford B. Dole, who became the provisional governor or the provisional president of Hawaii, his cousin, who came and founded the Hawaiian Pineapple Company, is the founder. That company then became Dole. Literal, the banana company. Yes, Hawaii was literally a banana republic. The reason they overthrew the independent Kingdom of Hawaii was specifically so that American trade and American capitalists could continue to profit more effectively off of the sweat and labor done in Hawaii. Yeah, so they started pineapple and banana farms. Yep. yeah, the Hawaiian Pineapple Company became the Dole Company, and they primarily made their fortune on bananas and pineapples. And yeah, this is like the entire history of Hawaii under like American rule has been essentially exploiting its natural resources and its location for a wide variety of reasons that are not at all beneficial to the native Hawaiian people. Yeah, no, they did introduce pineapples to Hawaii. Um, that is true. Additionally, when we take a look at how kind of Hawaii has been treated, there are absolutely, as people in chat noticed, like parallels to Puerto Rico. And really the only, I mean, there are many like distinct differences, but one of the biggest differences between Hawaii's treatment and Puerto Rico's treatment is that Hawaii is now a state of the United States, whereas Puerto Rico is not. Which means that Puerto Rico can't do things like declare, like, bankruptcy and like really get away with canceling some of its debt. So right now, Puerto Rico is also incredibly fucked by companies. The massive amount of debt that Puerto Rico owes to private companies has been something that has saddled the island with just massive suffering. Essentially, it's because the private interests kind of run Puerto Rico. Public schooling has been absolutely decimated. A lot of public utilities absolutely decimated as well. And one of the big things is that gentrification kicks into overdrive, right? What ends up happening is because of the economic downturn in places like Puerto Rico, because of the way debt is structured and corporations flock to it because of that debt structuring, they are able to come in and buy out tons and tons of homes, which then they raise the housing costs for people living there to squeeze every last drop of money out of the island to make their investment as profitable as possible. And this has led to an astounding amount of suffering by the Puerto Rican people. And so the reason I'm bringing this up, right, is that native Hawaiians especially, aren't stupid. Like they see that happening, and they see it also happening around the resorts. It's just that in Hawaii, that change has been a bit slower. But if you add in these natural disasters, that's when that process kicks into overdrive, and the gentrification process begins just at a massively accelerated rate. They have favorable tax structure for Puerto Rican citizens, at least. Well, that doesn't really help when you don't have money in the first place. The favorable tax structure is designed not to favor the working people of Puerto Rico. It's designed to favor the companies that set up in Puerto Rico. That's the reason the tax structure is the way it is. It is not to help the average Puerto Rican. It's to help the rich people who offshore their businesses there. I did most of the dozer work when they built the Dole plant you live near. Yeah. It's yeah. And also, like, part of the problem with Puerto Rico is like because of the financial situation, like they keep tweaking the tax breaks to be more favorable to foreign investors, but then that accelerates the housing problem, and like it's a real fucked up situation. Ace Man, not everything I say is responding directly to you. You're not the main character of this anime. Let's see. The Hawaiian word for pineapple means foreign fruit. Oh God, is it? Jesus. I really wish. America could do better by indigenous people. The one thing I saw recently that was even relatively decent was just apparently Joe Biden a couple days ago made the sacred lands of about 1 million acres of land near the Grand Canyon into a national monument, which is actually really cool. You know, that's I appreciate that. And those lands apparently are sacred to multiple tribes. And because it's a national monument, it gets a number of different protections. So, yeah. Is there no way the Hawaiian government can prevent predatory real estate practices? Well, part of the problem is that, the Hawaiian government is, a state government of the United States. Most of the people in the Hawaiian government are going to be relatively pro or in favor of people investing in their communities that just got burned down. So you could pass laws, but that's going to be very difficult, right, to protect Native Hawaiian folks.